Wonderful. Here we go. Hello, everyone. Welcome, welcome. So glad that you all are here. We're here today to learn about eco-villages in Portugal. And oh my goodness, we have so many people who registered for this event. Over 300 people, and I already see on the live event we have 62 participants and counting. So just a big welcome to all of you, and thank you for being part of this movement of people who are so interested in what's happening in Portugal right now. What is happening with the eco-village movement there and intentional communities more broadly? So big hello. We're just giving it a few more moments for everyone to arrive and settle in, get your audio connected. And I will start just briefly with some orientation. My name is Cynthia, and I'm going to be the host for today's call. And I'm joined by Catarina, who is our Portugal expert and guide. And we also have a team member, Rebecca, here with us, and she's going to be helping with the Zoom and answering any questions that you have in the chat. We really want to make sure that we get to as many of your questions as possible and really make sure that you get out of this webinar what you want to learn about ecovillages in Portugal. And I think I will start with introducing myself, and then I'll hand it over to Catarina to introduce herself. Then we have a really rich presentation for you all. And then I'm hoping we can reserve a good chunk of time at the end for your questions. So do put your questions into the chat and we'll try to answer them as we go, but really at the end, that's when we'll be focusing on your questions. All right, so hello again, my name is Cynthia, and I am the founder of Ecovillage Tours. That's the organization that's putting on today's event and is hosting the Portugal Ecovillage Tour. And I am calling from Vermont. I live myself in a small intentional community. I've been so fortunate in my life to have traveled the world visiting other intentional communities. I visited close to 200 communities and have worked with a number of organizations that are really fostering this network of community living globally. And I am so grateful for all of those experiences. I'm so grateful that I've gotten to see examples, inspiring examples of what people are doing to bring about a more sustainable, regenerative, and connected world. I every day feel grateful that I get to live in this sweet little eco-village where I do in Vermont. We're a small number of households. We grow our food together. We have a lot of kids on the land. It's a rural community, but I don't feel isolated at all because I have all these wonderful neighbors I get to share my life with. And that was the genesis of starting Ecovillage Tours, is wanting to make community living more accessible and give all of you access to find out about these communities. Because I know that the world right now feels more and more unstable. It's kind of a little scary, actually, especially as we're hosting a webinar about traveling. I know many of you, we have people from America and India, a lot of people from Europe, but people who are considering traveling to or potentially even moving to Portugal. And I know that right now that feels like a very timely endeavor, maybe something that has a bit of urgency around it for many of you who are looking for a better life and want to travel and potentially move, maybe while you can, because we're not sure what's coming next. So just want to put that out there as the context for which we're having the conversation today. And with that, I'm going to give a warm welcome to Catarina, who is joining us today. Actually, she's on a trip in Greece, but she's normally in Portugal and comes from Lisbon, Portugal. And she has been a tremendous partner in putting on today's webinar, but also this upcoming Portugal Ecovillage Tour, and has been tremendous in terms of like helping us get connected. We reached out to Catarina about doing this trip, and I think it was just like a matter of weeks, and you had the full schedule and itinerary and like map created. So just been a joy to work with you, Catarina, and I'll have you unmute now and introduce yourself.
Hi. Thank you so much, Cynthia. It's been super, super nice to have this project with me during the winter, and now I'm super excited for the summer to arrive. So my name is Catarina. Uh, Indeed, I was born in Lisbon, although my family is from Alentejo, which is a big region of Portugal that goes from the coast to the border with Spain. I'm more in the inside, in the interior, so closer to the border with Spain. That's also where I spent a lot of time. Most of my winter was there. And actually, right now I am in Greece because um well, I really like to learn, and it was actually through the platform of Erasmus Plus, which is the opportunity that people in Europe get, which is unbelievable. We get funded, fully funded, to attend workshops all over Europe about all kinds of topics. And right now, I came here to Greece to the farm of very dear friends to learn about bioregioning, which is all about working for regeneration on a regional level, from the landscape to the communities to the economics to the politics. And so it's super nice because it finished yesterday, and I'm really happy to meet you today after this. Like, we talked about systems thinking, we talked about how to bring in all the important stakeholders when you're trying to regenerate a place. And yeah, it feels really inspiring to have that connected with this opportunity to show everyone who is interested to come to the context of Portugal and what eco-villages and communities and eco-projects are doing for regeneration in the country where I was born. So I'm very happy to meet you here.
Oh, thank you, Katarina. I saw a photo of you of doing an olive harvest recently. Were you harvesting olives there in Greece?
No, so olive harvest in the south of Europe is during the autumn and maybe in the beginning of the winter. But actually, I was harvesting olives in one of the projects that we will visit in the tour, which is called Vale das Lobas, of which we have a representative here on the call, which is Dino Schmitz. I see him here.
Oh, hi,
Uh,
Dino.
he is, yes, he is one of the amazing people behind this project. And I'm going now, I think it's 3 years, always to harvest olives. And it's such a beautiful part of my year because it's in the mountains and it's like decades or centuries old olive trees that then becomes olive oil in 2 days. And it's a beautiful thing. You will not have it in the summer, but you're very welcome to join for olive harvest every autumn.
And they'll get to taste the olive oil. So, without the work. Good. Great. That was our short introduction. And for everyone watching and listening, I'd encourage you to put in the chat your short introduction, if you would be so kind to find the chat and just type in a little message. Where are you coming from? And what are you hoping to learn today? What brings you to this call? That'd be really helpful if you wouldn't mind putting in a note for us so we can try to tailor our conversation towards your needs. And I thank you also when you registered, many of you put in your questions that you have, and that was very helpful for designing today's event. Oh, good. Yeah, lots of representatives from the communities in Portugal. Yes, I love that. Representing. We have Purna from Ananda Kali Ecovillage. Excellent. Oh, Val, originally from Portugal, but now in Texas. Oh, from Switzerland, Paraguay. Wow. Oh my goodness, this does feel like a global event. Excellent. New York City. All right. Well, welcome everyone. I'm going to queue up here my slideshow and get into the formal presentation. So once again, we are here to talk about ecovillages and intentional communities in Portugal, here with Catarina, our local Portugal guide, and myself. And we are going to be chatting a little bit about the upcoming Portugal Ecovillage Tour. The dates for that are June 7th through the 16th. So coming up fairly soon. And we're going to be showing you information that we have here on the webpage, ecovillagetours.com/Portugal. But regardless of whether or not you're coming on the tour, we want to make this valuable for you in terms of learning about what's happening in Portugal so that you can go and visit on your own time later, or who knows, maybe join us next year, because we are hoping to do this event again next year. Not confirmed, but if all goes well, that is our intention. Okay. So, diving into it, what is special about ecovillages in Portugal? I think it's clear based on the attendance of this webinar and just what I've been hearing in the space now for the last several years. It really feels like Portugal has become a hotspot for people around the world, expats especially, who want to move to Portugal for the nice climate and food. And I think the culture and even the government has been supportive of people going to Portugal with really nice visa programs that we're going to get into a little bit today. And within all of that is the conscious community living movement, which especially feels strong in Portugal. So I have this next slide here that just highlights a few points, and then I want to hand it over to Catarina to share more deeply. But from my perspective of being in the movement, many people are familiar with Tamera Healing Biotope, which is the largest eco-village, the most established, an incredible, incredible project. But they're maybe less familiar with some of the other initiatives and not quite sure how to find them. But the reality is that there are many more projects than just Tamera and new projects emerging all the time. It truly is this growing hub for expats, but more specifically, people who are seeking conscious community. And I think that this tour and what we're going to share with you today is really a way to kind of peel back the curtain on a lot of what's happening there. So, Katerina, go ahead and share your thoughts.
So also drawing from your small presentation of the Portuguese context before, we are going to focus on two regions or hotspots for this tour. I would love, if it goes well this year, if we do it next year, to experiment with other places in Portugal, because indeed all over the territory there has been beautiful regeneration efforts and initiatives. So I would say that um, a lot of the focus in Portugal is with agriculture, regenerative or agroecology, and of course a lot with living in community. A very interesting context of Portugal is that indeed for very many decades, a lot of people who are not from Portugal, and maybe I can call them foreigners without any negative connotation, just international people, have been moving to Portugal. And a lot of these initiatives have been started by non-Portuguese people. So I actually, at the same time, really made an effort to look for the projects that were started or have a majority of Portuguese team as a introduction into the context and something to be developed in later tours if we design other itineraries. But indeed, for example, Tamera, which is this big inspiration for the world of regeneration, is started by some people from Germany, but a lot of the others have then this component. So it's something that we keep in mind when we envision people who might want to move to Portugal. It is quite an international environment already. So what can I say? The regions that we are going to focus on are in South Alentejo, which is the dots that you see further south, both the coast, so around Tamera, and then inland. Something you mentioned, Cynthia, that is very interesting is about the weather, that some people think that they come to Portugal and it's always warm and always sunny. It's not. We are going to do the tour in June, which will be very sunny and very hot, very likely. Like we will probably get to 40 degrees Celsius, which I have no idea. Is it 100 Fahrenheit? Maybe like the
Around there,
temperature of the
yes.
body.
Yes.
So it can be really hot in June, especially inland. But what is also very interesting is that climate change is a reality, and a lot of the projects are based on an adaptation to desertification. So it's not all paradise, right? So regeneration also goes through understanding how we can prepare for a future that involves climate change. So the communities that we'll visit have beautiful, creative ways to have these experimentations in these laboratories of what we're going to have to deal with very soon.
Mm.
And the second hub is in Serra da Estrela, which is the tallest mountains in continental Portugal. So center north, as you can see there, which is, for example, Vale das Lobas and Ananda Kalyani that we have here on tour are. And I actually find that there's a lot of focus in several of the initiatives on spirituality and community, what it means to be community in the more than human and more than body. So it's super beautiful and very interesting. So yeah, these are our two parts of the tour. We start on the south and then we travel to center north.
Ah, great. Thank you, Catarina. And that's a great segue just to highlight some of those points you made about the effects of climate change and desertification that's happening in Portugal, and really these amazing strategies that communities are implementing. So I have gotten to visit Tamera, and this is a photo of Tamera. And it is so I just remember driving through this dry, hot landscape, and then all of a sudden you come into the community and suddenly there's trees and fruit trees and gardens. And they've done that through these massive water retention landscape designs. It was actually designed by Sepp Holster, who's a famous permaculturalist. He implemented this system, and now the community has been maintaining it, and also learning, as I think Portugal has gone through from some very dry spells recently, how that has affected the landscape and how they've had to continue to adapt. And along with that, off-grid living systems. I know we have a lot of people here on this call who are interested in that kind of technology of how do you live more resiliently, more sustainably. As well as some of the projects are really neat with embracing new technologies. I got to visit Traditional Dream Factory, which is another spot on the tour, and they are like this hub for digital nomads who are utilizing the, I guess, the latest and greatest of new technologies for the purpose of regeneration and community. So they're utilizing AI and cryptocurrencies and blockchain technologies for governance, and creating their own systems for how they use those tools. That's just deeply fascinating. And I think Catarina mentioned there about these more spiritual communities that will also be represented on the trip. I think, the intention was to showcase a diversity of projects, from the more secular to spiritual to technologically innovative to very like grassroots, down to earth. And then, of course, peace research is a major focus, with Tamera really anchoring in that work. They call themselves a peace research center, and that is a core component of their mission. And I think it'll be a great opportunity for anyone coming on this trip or visiting Tamera on your own to get a sense for what a truly peaceful culture could look like, and learn from a community that's been practicing that for decades. It's very inspiring. Yeah, Katerina, anything to add on this slide?
Maybe just one thing that was very interesting that I read yesterday. So, big news! I just finished an application for a PhD today. I
Oh,
submitted it, and it will be a project that is about regeneration and about bioregioning, basically all of this that we are talking about. And my supervisor, if I get accepted, will be a person from academia who has been studying Tamera for many years from an academic point of view, which is super interesting. She also focuses a lot on the integration of communities in the local communities. So what is this bubble that communities create and how it can be beneficial or not, and what are communities that are not in a bubble and their focus is about the people who were there before and continue to be there. So this is something we will also explore on the tour because it varies a lot between communities or between eco projects or eco villages. And so even though the first point that we have here is about water retention, there's one of the trends in regeneration in Portugal is just the understanding that not all landscapes need to be green, and that if it's a desert, and we can still grow food in the desert. So it's really a lot about understanding what is the landscape that exists and how much do we transform it, how much do we adapt to it. So just something that I read
Oh.
that was really stuck with me.
Yes, wow. Thank you. I'm learning a lot from you already. I, f- I feel like you've brought a deeper nuance or perspective I haven't considered before to a lot of these points. And also what you shared earlier about the difference between a community created by a foreigner versus one created by somebody from Portugal. Like, yeah, these are really interesting models. Not to say that any one is right or wrong or better or worse, but just very interesting to learn from and explore. Okay, so I want to get into some advice for all of you listening about visiting or moving to Portugal and specifically to eco-villages in Portugal. I want to do that, and then once we're done with that, we'll actually go more in depth and look at specific communities, and then we will wrap up with time for questions. So I know many of you, when you were filling in the registration form for today's event, you said, I want to know, how do I visit? How do I move abroad? What would that process even look like? And I really want to emphasize that it does not look different to move to Portugal if you are moving into a community or not. You're still going to have to go through the normal visa and immigration processes. So just to clarify that. Um, this is a slide with a lot of information. Maybe you want to even just take a screenshot because this has kind of the high level view. We are not immigration experts, really encourage you to seek out professional help if you are indeed wanting to stay in Portugal longer than the 90 days, which is typical for most non-EU visitors. So anyone coming to visit from the United States as a US citizen, you can easily stay for up to 90 days. No problem. I don't know if it's changed recently. You might need to do a little online application, but you don't need a formal visa. You can just come as a visitor, which is awesome. This is the best way I recommend for any of you who are scouting out communities. If you want to join any type of visitor program more long term at a specific eco village, and of course, coming on the Portugal Ecovillage Tour, you would ideally do within the context of this 90-day easy and clear visa program or visitor program. And we're really available to help with that. I know many of you have written to us saying, I can't find lodging, or I'm having trouble with the flights and travel, and we're really here to help. So don't hesitate to reach out. Then the step beyond that, when you're saying, ooh, I really like this community. I've taken some initial steps with them. I've walked down the path of their membership. It really seems like this could be a place for me. Portugal has made it relatively easy compared to other countries in the world for you to explore avenues to actually move to Portugal and stay there more long term. So there's three possibilities. The first is the D7 visa, which is ideal for retirees or remote workers who have a passive income of around 800 euros per month. That would require you to purchase property in Portugal to get that temporary visa status. So this is the baseline income requirement, but then also purchasing property there, such as a home in a community in Portugal or becoming a co-owner of a community in Portugal. Then there's the digital nomad visa, which is very exciting for many people who are working remotely. And this is working remotely for a company outside of Portugal. So you work for a company, let's say in the United States, but you want to travel the world, you want to settle maybe in Portugal. This is a great one if you meet this work income requirement of around 3,000 euros a month. And then lastly, there's the student and volunteer visas. And this is more for those of you who are thinking of doing an extended program. Let's say you want to stay a year in Portugal and do a program with one of these communities. Maybe it's an apprenticeship or a training on permaculture or natural building. That's where you would want to look into the student or volunteer visas. Catarina, do you want to add anything?
Yes, I would actually love to also recommend the resource. I will put it now here in the chat. It's called Pure Portugal, and it's a consulting service that I know one of the people who works there, and they help with people who want to move to Portugal. So they give you personalized advice as well. And also here before I saw Catarina, also from Ananda Kalyani, said she also offers some help and advice. So we have already two great resources.
Oh, excellent. Oh, yeah, and I see some additional information in the chat as well. There's another person who says that they work with a new visa, a newly released visa called D4, which is for research and development. And Keith clarifies D7 doesn't require purchase of property, just 12 months lease. Okay, so purchase or a 12 months lease. That's really good to know. Great. Okay, good. I love this crowdsourcing of information. So all of it to say, there are means and ways if you are thinking of going to Portugal. I think that it is, again, relatively easy as far as it goes to move abroad to Portugal. All right. Okay, so we can get into more questions later. But now I want to look at some of these communities more in detail. Let's do this maybe for the next 10 minutes or so, and then we'll wrap up this part and get into the discussion portion. So I'm going to, oops, exit my full screen here. I'm going to jump over to this page. This is the web page for the Portugal tour. So all of the information we're going to share with you is available on this web page. Really use it as a resource, even if you're not coming on the trip, because we put a lot of time into sharing some helpful information about the tour itself and the communities that will be visited. So scrolling down, you can see the full itinerary and this map, which is really awesome. You can interact with this map. Here, I'll just pull it up here so you can see it a little bigger. You can, on the web page, click each of these locations and see the communities. Traditional Dream Factory, we had mentioned. Tamera, we've been mentioning a lot. Big thank you to Catarina and the team for making this map. I think it'll be a helpful resource. And this is just a sampling, right? This is a sampling of the many communities in Portugal, but they are the ones that we chose and Catarina chose to highlight on this trip for the diversity of different types and kind of the ease of traveling to visit these places with their geographical locations. So back over to the web page, you can see the itinerary there. Scrolling down to the featured communities. For each community, we've shared with you the location the amount of land, if they're accepting new members or not, which I think nearly all of them are, as well as the website and a little bit of information about each communities and photos of each place. So yeah, maybe we'll just go through each one, just little bit of info for each one. And Katarina, I'll let you guide this portion. Is there anything more you want to share about Tamera? I know we've mentioned them a bit already.
Um, I think for Tamera we are good. They are pioneers, and it will be very interesting to visit.
Yes, indeed. All right, traditional dream factory.
Yes, you already shared a bit. What I felt they bring to the specific itinerary is their use of cryptocurrency and of in-house financial system that I'm very excited to learn. A lot of the places in this tour I've never personally visited. I'm just like following from a distance or a fan of. So it's also great for me. And this is one of them that I'm very curious to get to know.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And Ananda colleague, I almost feel like we should have the representatives say a word or two.
Yes, I would love if Purna or Katarina, if you want to jump in for 1 minute, maybe if you could do a very short introduction to what Ananda Kalyan is. It's a place that I've been and I loved my visit.
Hello, hello, everyone.
Hello, welcome.
Yeah, thank you. So I'm here, representative of the Department of Events in Anna. We are a master unit from Ananda Marga, a spiritual philosophy, and we have a huge ecosystem around. Ananda is located in Serra da Estrela, in the central of Portugal, rooted in a spiritual tradition, as I told Ananda Marga, and integrates the spirituality, the local development, and the holistic regeneration across the environment, economic, and social dimensions. We have a lot of organizations that help people, that we are helping the agriculture around. We are doing yoga in the jails. We are doing dinners for people that don't have the capability. And we are now creating a cooperative with all of agriculture around to get them machines in order for them to collect the fruits. And yeah, our mission is to create a model for a sustainable and regenerative living where the spirituality, well-being, community resilience, and service to all life are the heart of everything we do. We have a lot of yoga and meditation practices rooted in Tantra and Neo-Humanism, and we have a big ecosystem, a social ecosystem of residents, volunteers, and a lot of local partners. And yeah, we are producing our own food. We have a regenerative agriculture, renewable energy, wellness centers, and a lot of educational programs. We are working with Erasmus Mais too. And yeah, we should come visit our facilities. Yeah, we have a large meditation wall. We have now our guest house with 30 places. And yeah, we are almost here in June, right? And yeah, we have a lot of houses in the village close by too. And yeah, if you want to find out, you are very welcome. You can reach me or come to visit just for 1, 2 nights or volunteer with us. And yeah,
Oh,
thank you for letting me sharing a bit of this inspiring project.
thank you so much, Pruna.
You're welcome.
Wow, yes, you are doing a lot. Yoga in the jails and the prisons, like, oh my goodness, so much incredible work. Good work. Thank you for everything you're doing there. Mm. Oh, beautiful. All right, good. Okay, now moving along. Sparala Ecovillage. Oh, I like that.
Yes.
Yes.
So this one is a bit more south from Ananda, and it's project. Oh wait,
Yeah, there was a little bit
and
of noise. Go ahead. Yes.
I'm in the street, and there was a big group of happy people passing by. So this project has been focusing a lot on how to say it, celebration and culture. So they organize very regularly parties and celebrations, and they have a festival that happens just a bit before the tour. So if anyone is thinking to arrive to Portugal in the end of May, they will have their festival happening in the last weekend of May. You can see it in their social network and in their website. And it's a beautiful place. It's an amazing location that is also one of the only municipalities in Portugal that has a pact to be regenerative, which is Idanha Nova. So they're really taking all full advantage of it. And one of the founders of the Ecovillage has also started one of the first municipal non-formal primary schools in Portugal. Municipal non-formal primary school. It's a big conquest for Portugal. So it will be super interesting. And it was also founded by Israelis, which has become a bigger and bigger community in the rural areas of Portugal. So we'll get the chance to ask them why and why they chose Portugal. So it's also a nice cultural meeting.
Oh, I love that. Fantastic. Thank you for sharing with us. And Terra Syntropica.
Yes, so this is maybe I used their words previously. Terra Syntropica is using the principles of syntropy to create what they call a lab of the future, because they're in one of the areas of Europe that is most likely to become a desert very soon. So they are using syntropic agriculture to show what could be used in this future. And their main focus is the local community. So they are working very closely with a nearby village. They have a vegan restaurant in the village, which is, unheard of in most villages in Portugal. And everything they do is for the village. So remember before when I was talking about the bubble, they are popping the bubble. And I really appreciate them for that.
Ah, great. Yeah, and I just love this photo of the big garden with the village and the hilltop in the back. That's great. Okay, and
Actually, just one last thing about Terra Syntropica is that also in the last weekend of May, no, maybe it's a bit before. It's on the 23rd of May, if people are passing by. There is the Islamic festival of Mertula, which is the village.
Catarina, I think we may have lost you. Oh, just when you were about to share with us about an event. Okay, we'll give it a moment. Hopefully she'll get reconnected. But that is an interesting point as she's been mentioning these additional events happening outside of the tour dates. There are a lot of possibilities for those of you who are looking to extend your time in Portugal, either at the beginning or at the end of the trip. And we really want to help you with those travel arrangements. So feel free to reach out. Catarina, are you back with us? We can see you now.
Yes, I'm back. Sorry.
No
So
worries.
yes, I was just sharing that they will have the Islamic festival there, which is all about the history of the place and a big part of the history of Portugal. So if you come earlier, it will be amazing if you join.
Oh, good. Very good. Love it. Okay, and now Vale das Lobas.
Yes, Dino, you want to present us for 1-2 minutes?
Yes, of course, I'll be delighted for that. Okay, I hope everybody can hear me well. So thank you, Catarina. Great to see you again. Thank you also, Cynthia, for this opportunity and for the initiative to organize this tour. I found it amazing when Catarina first came to, it actually was, well, she came here for the olive harvest, that she told me about this project of the tours. And I think it's a beautiful initiative and great to see so many people also interested in this. So yeah, Vale das Lobas is a project already running for quite some time, almost 15 years, in the interior of Portugal, close to the Serra da Estrela. And it's a land-based project, but with a very holistic approach, where we look at how can we combine commerce and community in a more conscious way, in a regenerative way. And what that means is that we are we are part of it. It's a company. It's a development for nature tourism, where we are constructing a farm-to-table restaurant, a glamping park, but also a nature spa with a well-being center. These developments are on their way, planning to open a part of it this year, another part next year. And we're also going to be developing an eco-village, building sustainable eco-homes. And all these initiatives are also embedded in an already existing community. So it's not so much of an intentional community as such. There's no separation. Our office, people we work with, the suppliers, the existing community that has welcomed us, we're right in the heart of it. We're not separate from any of that. We don't wish to be. And also the people that come here are really invited to connect with that, to connect with the community, to connect with themselves, because everything we do starts also with ourselves, how we wish to live, how we wish to be, how we wish to work, and doing that from a place of respect and integration for other beings, the land beings, the animals, the trees, the water, the granites, the seen and unseen beings, all of that. So to do that with that kind of respect, to be in harmony with everything around us. So we're really excited to welcome people to come here in June and to learn more about it. And of course, they can visit our website. I will put my contact detail here in the chat as well, so people can also reach out to me directly if they wish to. So thank you very much. Lots of gratitude.
Yes, thank you, Dino. Oh, fantastic. I love this. I love that we're getting the voices of the people from the places directly. Fantastic. Very good. Okay, so just a few more practical things I want to share with you because it has come up in past webinars, so we want to make sure we share with you all of the specific tour information, so you make sure you get that information covered. Oh, Catarina, did you have something you want to add before I do this?
Yes, I just want to say one thing, which is there's some more surprises that are not on the tour website, because I want to keep a bit of a suspense. But also all the accommodation that I've chosen and all the places where we will eat are also places that are regenerative. They're mostly nature-based tourism, as well as local restaurants with the big emphasis on vegetarian or vegan food. So the whole thing is really designed to go into where we are and not stay hidden away in our own tour bubble as well. So prepare to open up some boundaries when you arrive to the tour.
Oh, I love that. I love the full immersive experience that you have very carefully designed for everyone to make sure it's a values alignment every step of the way. Thank you so much for all your work and your enthusiasm. It's contagious. Great. So here we are again, June 7th to the 16th. I'll run through with you just briefly what the tour includes. It is a 10-day guided tour. So from the moment you arrive at the airport in Lisbon to when you get dropped back off there, we have all of the transportation covered, all of the meals. So really, as Catarina said, really thoughtfully curated meals, many of them at the communities where you'll be staying or at places that, again, support the local food systems. Visits to 6 inspiring communities, plus some extra spots that are mystery spots that we won't be sharing. Quality time, really, with the founders and the residents. You know, I know from having done these tours in different places around the world that, and also myself living in a community, it can be overwhelming to have individual visitors coming at random times and really make sure you give them a quality experience, but it's much easier with a group. It's much easier when you can really plan to be present with visitors. So that's one of the reasons why we've organized these tours as we have, to facilitate you making sure you're able to ask all the questions that you want, meet multiple people in the community, Really spend time, maybe sharing a meal, helping out in the garden, touring people's homes to really get a sense for what it's like to live there and what the work is of the place you're visiting, as well as becoming a community with the people you're traveling with, which it's so funny. We often hear people say, I came on this tour to visit communities, but what I'm leaving with is actually a community myself of the people I got to travel with. And I love that. And I think Catarina, with all of her experience, she hasn't even mentioned, the things she's done in her life with groups and events and acrobatics and circus. And really, she's so talented. And I think will bring that facilitation forward for you all to deepen the bonding and connection, as well as bringing you to some nature spots, some cultural spots along the way. This is a trip to visit communities in Portugal, but also see the landscape and the places of Portugal. And hopefully to get a little bit more clarity or at least support on the next steps for your community journey. We often have 3 different types of people who come on our trips. One being, the person who wants a retreat, time away from their normal life to get inspiration, to get ideas to take back home, to empower them. We also get people who are thinking of actually moving to one of the communities that we visit on the trip. And we've had that happen many times, and it is amazing to see people actually joining the communities they visit on a tour. And also people who are thinking, maybe I want to start something. Maybe I want to become a founder, and I'm going to use this trip as a launching off point for me to take the next step. So that's what we're here for. We're here to support your community journey. I'm going to share next about the pricing, because that is a question that we get asked, and I want to make sure it's very transparent with you. And again, that the pricing includes all of these things, everything from the beginning to the end of the trip. And the current price as of today is around $3,000 with a $500 deposit. So that works out to about $350 a day. And we do have payment plans. So most people who join us on the trip do sign up for a payment plan so they can break that up into payments over time. And we are now about halfway full with the trip. And we want to give you a special gift for being a participant today on the webinar. So this is only for webinar attendees, only for people who are joining us live or watching this recording. We want to give you 1 day of the trip for free. So a complimentary day of the trip, that's an extra $350 off the tour price as it is currently. And you'll want to use this discount code webinar gift at checkout. So make sure you write that down somewhere, webinar gift. And that discount code is only good if you book on Friday or earlier. So you really have a few days to think about it, make your final decision, and then we would love to have you join us on this adventure. And I have here with us a wonderful member of our team. So Rebecca is here with us. I'm just gonna pull her up now. And I'm going to share this next slide, which is how you can get in touch with Rebecca to answer any remaining questions you may have about the trip, about Portugal. Here's all the contact information. We'll put this into the chat. You can schedule a call with Rebecca, send her an email, or even just call her directly. Rebecca, you want to say hi?
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you, Cynthia. Thank you, Catarina. And thank you to everyone else who's on the call. I'm really grateful to, be on the team with Ecovillage Tours. I actually was honored to join a Ecovillage Tour myself 2 years ago on the Costa Rica Ecovillage Tour. And so as a former participant and now someone who's helping to get more people signed up, it's definitely a true passion of mine. I think it's really important to take the time and to invest in these experiences. And like Cynthia was saying, you know, you're traveling from spot to spot and you kind of become like an intentional community yourself on the experience with all the other attendees. I wish I could join this Portugal tour. Sounds awesome. I have a family trip that same time frame, but all to say, Catarina and Cynthia put so much thought into really carefully designing this experience to see a wide array of different communities, and it's really just a life-changing opportunity. So I'm happy to schedule a Calendly link here if you want to do a Calendly 30-minute discovery call. I know it's a lot to invest your time on a 10-day trip. I totally get it. We can talk about the different payment plans if you want to break up the payments too. And then of course as well, we have a phone number line, so feel free to call. I am in Texas. I live on a homestead here in Texas, pursuing the off-grid dream. So if you're in Portugal or Europe, you know, we do have that different time zone to consider, but I would be just so happy to speak with you, answer any questions that you have. And I really appreciate the opportunity to introduce myself. And I hope you guys can join us for the Ecovillage Tour in Portugal.
Thank you, Rebecca. Thank you for your work. Yeah, and I just want to highlight too, this has really been a team effort. We also have our tour coordinator, Jess, who's not able to join the call today, but she's been a big help with putting this all together, as well as each of the communities that we've worked with. We directly support the communities that we visit on the trip, so that is a part of what your payment goes towards, is uplifting the communities that we also visit. So we try to be as holistic as we can with all of this and really make sure that we're walking the talk in terms of our values and the world that we want to see in the future. Alrighty, so I will stop sharing my screen. And yeah, Rebecca, if you want to pop that info into the chat so people know how to contact you. And yeah, now we get to do the fun part, which is getting into your questions. So let's see here. We do have, let's say 10 minutes. We can go a little bit over, that's fine. So I'm going to take the spotlight off of me and Catarina here for a moment so we can see all of you. Hello, all you beautiful faces and people. If you want to turn your camera on for this part as well, just so we can see more of the fullness of everyone in the room, around 70 people who are here today. Oh, okay. Well, I'd love to hear more voices. So maybe if you want to raise your hand, you can click the raise your hand button or give us a wave. If you have a question, we'd love to answer it. And I will also give a quick scan over here into the chat to see if there were any questions that I might have missed from earlier. I see iPhone has a question. All right, iPhone, go ahead and unmute.
Hi, I have a technical question about some of these businesses. I know that in Portugal, it's imperative to start like a cooperative or something like that because it's very difficult to like do shared like co-ownership. Like a lot of people just can't theoretically like buy a property, like split a lease together to like get one property. So they form cooperatives. And I was wondering in the visa process, is it possible to be able to sponsor someone coming in from like an outside country like the US to as an employee if you have a co-op in an eco-village?
Yeah, Catarina, you want to answer that one?
That is an extremely specific question that I don't know about. Yeah, but indeed, collective ownership is a thing in Portugal, and one way to do it is a cooperative. That's also what we will talk to the founders of Spirala about, because they are foreigners and they have immigrated and formed a cooperative in order to own the land collectively. So they could be someone that if you want to contact directly to ask more specifically, but what you mentioned specifically, I don't know. Sorry.
Can you say the name of that community one more time?
Yes, it's the Spirala community.
Spirala, okay.
I wrote here in the chat.
Thank you. Excellent. Okay, and more questions or comments if we have them? I'm just looking here earlier in the chat.
There was one about bringing kids and it being kid friendly.
Yeah, and I just saw that one. Can children come on the tour? Yes, absolutely. Children can come on the tour. We very much welcome kids on the trip. There are a few caveats depending on the age of the child. You know, this trip will have some longer drives. So for kids who maybe aren't so good in the car, that's something to consider. Maybe some longer periods of walking or standing for presentations, that sort of thing. But we love when kids come. It's been beautiful to see children on these tours and really get that village feel. We also do have some special pricing for children as well. Some really like deep discounts for kids because we know they're smaller and eat less, that sort of thing. And yeah, and I think it's also true. Many of the communities I know, especially Tamera, is a very family friendly, family welcoming kind of community. So I know we've had quite a few people with families be interested in this trip and moving to Portugal communities for that reason.
And I would also add that Portugal is really not stroller friendly. I see so many people coming on vacations with strollers, even in the city. It's not nice. So bring your kangaroo, or we're gonna go through some very fun type topography.
Great. Any other reflections that people have, even if you don't have a specific question? I'd love to know, like, how is this landing with you? Is this, giving you a better sense for what's out there? Are you thinking of moving to Portugal or just visiting? If anyone wants to share their story, be happy to bring you on. No pressure.
I also saw actually two very interesting questions. I don't know if it's okay on the chat. One is about mold, which I find so interesting that you thought about it. Indeed, Portugal has an issue with mold. So people don't think about it, but Portugal has a winter and has a very humid winter. And when you live in a house that was built probably in the 20th century, you will have a huge issue with mold. So natural building, amazing. Stone houses, amazing. Otherwise, you're gonna have to do some interesting reconstruction to your house. And the other question was about how the local communities, the local, well, the Portuguese people, let's call them, have been seeing this movement of foreigners or international people coming to live in Portugal. It's really interesting topic. I would love to discuss it actually during the tour. The answer is it's very mixed. Some people really don't like it. Not only right-wing people, a lot of left-wing people are very disturbed by this. They call it neo-colonialism because it does have an influence on inflation of the land prices and property prices. And other people love it. And especially people who speak English are very happy to welcome foreigners. They can connect. But if the foreigners cannot learn Portuguese, it becomes also an issue for integration in rural countries. So we'll go very much into it during the tour. That will definitely be a topic that we'll reflect on together.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks for finding those questions in the chat. Yeah, it has been something that's come up on all of our international trips. What is the impact of foreigners moving to this place? Is that welcomed or not? What's the relationship? Is it a net positive or negative? How can you potentially move there in a way that is supportive of locals and respectful of locals and the culture and the language and all of that? So it is a good opportunity to learn. And also just to clarify the mold thing, because I think here in the United States, we don't have homes that are mostly like built out of stone and are hundreds of years old. So I think you were referring to those homes that are naturally built out of natural materials, being more like the air can pass more easily and those are less prone to mold. But it's really the more recent construction that doesn't have those natural features, like especially using lime plasters. That's where you could run into some problems. Okay. Can you explain the areas of Portugal, north, south, central, and the weather? Okay, and I know you did touch on some of this already, Catarina. I don't know if there's anything more you want to add about the different regions.
Yeah, maybe I can say that even though Portugal is quite a small country in terms of territory, it's very rich in climates, in microclimates, and biodiversity as well. So normally we divide it between north, center, and south, but these can be, subdivided. The north is the most abundant place in water. It's also very conservative and Catholic, like religion is very present. The center, I'm saying really small sentences, right? All of this can be talked about. The center is unfortunately very prone to fires, especially because of the expansion of eucalyptus intensive monoculture. But it's very different also between coast and inland. We're going to be in the center inland in the mountains, which are beautiful. Like I lived there and it was probably my favorite place to live. And it's full of waterfalls, even in the summer. The coast is highly urbanified for cities, also for tourism. And then we have the south, which includes Alentejo and Algarve, which is really hot, very drought, like a lot of drought, extreme drought. Even though a lot of people move there because of the heat, you will have to deal with drought, whether you want it or not. But no fires because there's no monocultures of eucalyptus. Sometimes there are some fires. Fire is a big thing in Portugal. It must be taken into consideration that you might at some point lose your property. Sorry, it's something that you can build on with agroecology, for example. You can increase the resilience of your farm by using these techniques for fire prevention. So yeah, it's a very, very diverse territory.
Yeah, interesting. Wow. Good. Well, thank you all so much. I know we are getting more questions in the chat. I'm really going to encourage you just to send us a message if you have more questions. We're really happy to help. I also know some people joined us late or got the time confused. No worries. We will send you the full recording as well as the chat. So you'll get everything sent to you via email. Make sure you check your email for a message from me, Cynthia at ecovillagetours.com. That'll be the email address that you'll get it from. And yeah, feel free to write to us if you have more questions. I know we just had an hour together today and we packed a lot in and there's so much more to explore. I really hope that you consider joining the Portugal Ecovillage Tour. It would be wonderful to have you with us. And Catarina here is a fantastic resource herself. So you get to hang out for 10 days with Catarina and pick her brain, as well as visit all of these incredible communities. And thank you all so much for your interest. Thank you for making the time to be here today. Okay.
Yes,
all right,
thank
everyone.
you very much.
Yes, take care. Be well. Make sure you give us a call or reach out with any questions, especially if you want to take advantage of that deal before Friday and get the extra $350 off the trip. Be a good way to be able to join and make the commitment to saying yes to learning more about communities in Portugal. Okay, take care, folks. Bye-bye. Thank you. Thank you all.